Okay, so welcome to this week's Fez Investigates. This week we're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin Bravado and allegations made against them of running pump and dump schemes. So we're going to start off with who is Bitcoin Bravado and CryptoMedicated. Bitcoin Bravado are a Bitcoin community that offer their members various bits of news, information, technical analysis, and information on ICOs. They also have a paid-for subscription in which they give premium members more information, more in-depth analysis than they give out for free. CryptoMedicated is a journalist in the online space who writes on Steam, Medium, Telegram, and also has a couple of Twitter accounts. He got a job as an analyst for Bitcoin Bravado, and that's where everything sort of started from. So, why did it come out? Well, as I just mentioned, CryptoMedicated got a job as an unpaid analyst for Bitcoin Bravado. In his research into Encash, he actually got a direct message in response to one of his messages from Nauticus, in which they claimed they had no partnership with Encash, despite the fact Encash had been promoting them as a partner. He then released this information to his Twitter followers, which caused an argument between himself and Bitcoin Birch, who is one of the founders of Bitcoin Bravado, and they had an argument via Twitter direct messages. This argument was resolved, and they were quite amicable with each other, but when CryptoMedicated went back into the Telegram chat, he found out that he'd been demoted from analyst, and then he was calling for users of the Telegram to leave. He went onto Twitter and released a load of tweets sort of slating Bitcoin Bravado. In retaliation, it appears that Bitcoin Bravado then flooded his account with fake followers in an effort to get his account shut down by Twitter. In response to this, CryptoMedicated went onto the Telegram chat and screenshotted a load of information and wrote an article in which he sort of exposes the Telegram chat for organising a pump and dump scheme. So a pump and dump scheme basically is where somebody will go in and buy a large proportion of a coin supply. They will suppress that price so they can accumulate more, and then they will run a large PR sort of hype in order to drive the price up. And as that price is increasing, they are steadily selling off their holdings of that coin, and once it's all gone, the price just crashes back down, and anybody that bought on that way up is left out of pocket. So here we have a link to a file called the God PDF, which is named the Game of Deception, and it's actually a step-by-step guide written by somebody called Wu Long on how he runs pump and dump schemes. There's 7 steps here. I'm not going to go into it in depth, but if you would like to read it and educate yourself on pump and dump schemes and how they work, then please follow the link in the description and have a read of it for yourself. So these are the people that were seen in the Telegram chat. There's quite a few names here, and all of these are sort of Twitter and Telegram personalities. They all share information with their followers on up-and-coming coins, ICO reviews, technical analysis, so they're all in a position where they can manipulate price and hype a coin up to their followers so that they can sell off any bags that they're holding. Okay, so here we have a screenshot from CryptoMedicated's first article, in which we see Crypto Signals basically asking if anybody's run a pump and dump scheme before. The first response is CryptoGat, who says no, he's not done it, but he's in. The chat then goes on to where Crypto Signals explains exactly how he wants to do it. He wants to spend about 40 Bitcoin to buy up 25% of the supply, and he explains that he's already in conversation with some miners to buy directly from them over the counter. He then goes on to say that they're not going to do any real manipulation until the coin hits a larger exchange, which is followed up by CryptoGat saying manipulation isn't a good word to throw around, which is true because plausible deniability is now gone out the window. But fear not, peripherals here, and he offers an alternative way of talking about it as market making. 2 main people of interest for me within this series of screenshots is Crypto Signals, mainly because he's the instigator of the proposed pump and dump. He's put in charge of the war chest and controls the finances, and he's also the one that instigates the over-the-counter deals with miners. Peripheral as well is a secondary person of interest. This is because he claims to very easily be able to get the coin listed on some fairly decent sized exchanges. He also says that he can get it pushed into Huffington Post and Forbes, as well as in Bitcoin Bravado newsletter. He also sort of makes fun of his Twitter followers as well, saying that they'll eat up 1,000 times turn. Also, in the bottom left, you can see the chart that I've pieced together from screenshots that shows the allocation and the amount of Bitcoin that each person has dedicated to this pump and dump. So, what coins have they targeted and why? The two main ones that they start to talk about are Haven Protocol and Dineros. Both of these coins, actually, the price increases before they can put any money into it, so it prevents them from using these coins. But the main reasons they've picked these are because of the use cases, the real world implications that these projects actually have. The fact that they both have low market cap, so they can buy up a lot of the supply at a very cheap price and then inflate it to maybe 10 times the original price that they bought it. They're also interested in the team and the community, because any project, you have to be aware of who's involved, and if you can find something that has high profile developers attached to it, then it's going to be a lot easier to hype up that coin and overinflate the price. They also talk about the exchange listing potential, how easy it's going to be to get it listed on alternative exchanges. And they talk about miners, because obviously it has to have hash power behind it. There have to be miners backing the project, and if there aren't, then they need to organise getting somebody to mine this coin so that they can buy up that supply outside of the exchanges. Now, in response to all these allegations, Bitcoin Bravado released a statement in which they state that none of the members within the chat, actually captured in the chat having this conversation, are directly affiliated to Bitcoin Bravado. Although they have been involved with the project in the past, they have no actual ownership of the organisation. The organisation itself is primarily owned by Joel and Stephen, who are Bitcoin Birch and Serial Schiller. They also go on to say that it is only those two that curate any of the news or any of the content released. They point out that within their media there has been no mention of any of the coins that have been discussed, and they also point out that any of the coins they do talk about in their newsletter or on their Telegram channels, there is no real price action seen directly afterwards. And they go on to share some screenshots of direct messages between Bitcoin Birch and CryptoMedicated as well, to show the manner in which they're talking to each other. So the drama goes on. There's a third article published in which CryptoMedicated receives some screenshots from an anonymous source that's managed to position themselves into a new group chat that they've set up, where they are talking about what CryptoMedicated's done and where they're going to go from here. There's an interesting snippet here between Peripheral, not Kurt, and I can't pronounce the third person's name, but Peripheral says, he's always tried to be good within the space. Kurt comes back with the fact that it's going to blow over, and I'm pretty certain it already has. I don't think this has affected anybody particularly negatively with a loss of followers, and they're probably still making money now. CryptoMedicated also goes on to point out that there's no actual evidence that incriminates Bitcoin Bravado as an organisation, and there's no evidence that incriminates Danny Les 3 or Dog Pound as individuals within the group chat. Although they are seen as members of the group chat, they don't commit to anything within the chat itself. So what does this mean for crypto? This is, we have to consider how easy this has been organised, which means it is probably rife within the market space. If Peripheral's right and it is easy to get these coins listed on an exchange, then it means that there's going to be a lot of people out there doing it. And it's not just pump and dump schemes, we have insider trading to be aware of as well. So that's anybody within a space, whether it's within a project or in an exchange. If they know something's going to be listed, then they're going to be going out and they're going to be buying up a huge chunk of that supply. So when the price does go up because of a new listing or because of a partnership, they can then offload that and make a large profit. And we have to ask ourselves, is there a need for regulation? which is a bit of a double-edged sword really, because regulation kind of goes against the whole ethos of cryptocurrency, but at the same time, if we remain unregulated, then this market manipulation is still going to be a problem going forward, and we have to find a way to cut it down, whether it is as a community sort of boycotting these people that have been discovered doing it and making it known that we won't stand for it, or whether it is involving some governing body to come in and have some sort of power to prosecute. How can we avoid it as investors? Well, this is simple. You need to do your research into a project. You know, if it is something you want to invest in, then hold it and be patient. You know, it's very easy to get caught up in short-term rewards, but if you believe in a project, then just have faith and it will pay off in the end. So Fez's final thoughts. This to me seems very much like an argument between the organisation and CryptoMedicated, and all this information has come to light in a response to an attack on his Twitter account. And we have to ask ourselves, if none of this had happened, would CryptoMedicated have actually come forward and shared this information with us? I don't think he would. I think this is purely in response to falling out with Bitcoin Birch. And this also, the third point is this conversation he shares in the second article that he writes, and the bit that stands out to me is the last sentence. Meanwhile, we'll continue making money. Trust me. So he's having a conversation with somebody that he's obviously financially tied to. They're making money together, which just ties in, you know, this could be exactly why he was in this group. He could be there for the sole purpose of being involved in this pump and dump to make a huge profit in a very short amount of time. The statements he makes about not being able to show any concrete incriminating evidence against Danny Les or Dogpound or Bitcoin Bravado seem to me very insincere and almost as if they're done because he's been contacted by a lawyer with accusations of slander. So this is the important thing. As I said previously, we need to do our own research into projects, and if you're not going to be a long-term holder and you want to make money from trading, you need to take the time to learn technical analysis. There's books out there, there's information on the internet. Don't buy into a pump and dump group. This is ridiculous. The notion that somebody out there is going to give you information to make you rich, really what they're doing is using you as a pawn. They've already gone out, they've bought their bags, and by telling you it's going to pump and you invest in, you are actually buying their coins and making them a profit. So just be careful and look after yourself and look after your money. So that's everything for today. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please make sure to smash the like button and hit subscribe. Don't forget the bell icon to receive notifications of any new videos.